Hi there, it's Lianne Phillipson, registered nutritionist, coming to you from Sprout Right headquarters in Toronto. I guess also liannephillipson.com headquarters. This is my home office. And I wanted to talk to you today about what are you doing after you finish your workout. Since the beginning of the year, I've been doing a personal co-training program, and every time I still go to the gym, I come home, I make sure that I refuel. And for anybody that's feeling like, okay, I want to get out there and run because the snow's gone here in Toronto anyway. I know it still keeps coming down in other parts of Canada, that's for sure, and a little bit here too. But if you're wanting to get out and do something different or start a new program, get yourself ready for the summertime or a trip or a wedding or something like that, or you're still just, doing your normal exercise, but you want to really nail down the nutrition piece, I wanted to talk a little bit about the post-workout, actually more the post-workout, because that's an area that I find people get really quite stuck in. So I want to break it down first, though, because there's lots of different types of exercise that you can do. You don't need to go and have 20 to 30 grams of protein if perhaps you've just done a flow yoga class. Which is, it is also an exercise. Pilates is a fabulous type of exercise. There's a lot out there that help to balance our bodies so very well. And then there's things like resistance training or strength training. So resistance training is where you're using maybe your body, you're using weights, you're lifting weights, those kind of things. So I'll call that strength training, just so we make sure that we've got that clear for when I'm making recommendations. Also, when you're doing more cardio-based work, maybe you're going for a run, you're doing a class that doesn't involve weights quite as much, then it's a little bit different in terms of what is it that you need to do post-workout with that. So imagine all of your muscles. So as you're doing your work, we have these energy stores in all of our muscles, in my arms, in my quads, in my glutes, everywhere in my body. We have these stores of energy that are in there, which our bodies use to move, to run, to kind of run for the bus or run from the bear in the olden days and all those kind of things. Well, maybe you might be running for a bear still. Sometimes that happens. And what's happening when you are actually working out is that you're tearing the muscles, you're damaging the muscles. And what needs to happen is that they need to repair. That's the point of post-workout nutrition, is that we're aiding the repair of the muscles, so that next time you go and do whatever your workout is that your muscles are ready to go and they're feeling strong and they are stronger. So in building muscle, that's the point of making sure that you're doing some sort of strength training, you're using some weights, you're using your body as a weight. Push-ups is the perfect resistance training or strength training, because you've got your whole body on your arms, and as you're doing your push-up, then that's obviously using certain muscle areas. So as you imagine all of these muscles being torn in your body, the food to help repair this the best is protein. So protein becomes so much more important in your diet, in your post-workout diet. So sometimes you hear people talking about post-workout shakes. So you got to have your protein powder. Some of them are absolutely massive. This is Ultra Protein Plus. This is a plant-based protein powder. And then we have things like whey protein powder. I'm going to go into a lot more detail about all the different types of protein powders in some segments coming up in not too long. So I'm going to diversify and tell you about all the different ones that there are, what works best for you. I have some that don't work well for me, and I don't feel like they're really nourishing me, and they're giving me all sorts of other symptoms. So I'm going to go into that a lot more. Today I want to talk a lot about food as well. So one of the things that, for instance, my trainer at the Motion Room suggested to be consuming after my workout is at least 20 grams of protein. So what on earth does that look like? So for instance, here I have a can of, is this salmon or tuna? So this is tuna, 142 grams, and where's my protein? 14 grams of protein in a whole tin of tuna. Now that may seem like that's a lot to eat, But in order to get that 14 grams of protein, you need this, and to get the 20 grams of protein, you need to consume this, and even still a little bit more. So understanding the numbers a little bit, it's depending on what you're doing. So I'm really talking about strength training here. So let's just stick to that. So the protein shake, a meal like a tuna sandwich or something like that is a lovely balance, depending on if you're heading straight to work after the gym, or this is an evening thing that you're doing. The time of day will, also have something to do with what is it that you're consuming afterwards. But it really is important to just get in that protein and fiber and vegetables. You can still do all of those kind of things, but we're not looking for a carbohydrate heavy meal. What we're looking for after doing a cardio or endurance session is actually about a 4-to-1 ratio of carbohydrate to protein. So that would mean that, let's say you did have something like 14 grams of protein, times that by 4, and that's the kind of carbs that you want to have. So that's a pretty big meal after an endurance or cardio session, like a run or something like that. So just to bear in mind that this 4-to-1 ratio of carbs to protein is more for the endurance, more when you're maybe training for an Ironman, or you're going for a triathlon, and you're or even just a 10K. Sometimes I do a 10K where I'm running for around about an hour. So in training for that, or half marathon or marathon, that endurance needs a lot more carbohydrate to put the glycogen back in. So all of this is also detailed on a blog post on sproutright.com. So you can check that out too if you need a little bit more information. So in getting back to the food of what on earth can you eat afterwards. So like I said, you can have the tuna if you're into that. Another thing that you can do is obviously eggs, but you need to have so many eggs in order to get up to the right amount of protein. So what I do is I take 1 egg and then I add in half a cup of egg whites. So I don't want to take away from the good stuff that's in the yolk, because it's so nutrient dense. There's iron in there. There's so many great nutrients in the egg yolk, but I also need to get the protein in, and you do too if you're doing some really great strength training. So start with 1 egg. I always add in some spinach. Maybe I'll add in a bit of salsa if I fancy a bit of spiciness going on or something like that. So really amazing to make sure that those nuts and bolts are there. And then of course you've got the whey protein powder if you wanted to do that. We've got the plant-based protein powder. There's many of them out there. Really just try them and see. Make sure that they're really clean as much as possible. So so you've got to do a little bit more research. Like I said, I'm going to go into that a little bit more. Something that I also do afterwards is if I've had something, or I'm more in what's called the build phase during my program, or during my times of my workouts, is I will add in some, these are called branch chain amino acids. These are really specific for helping the muscles to repair, and also that really oh my God, I used my arms today feeling where you're just trying to lift your arm up or something like that, and you just think, oh boy, that really hurts, and I really exhausted that muscle. So this is a Genestra HMB complex, and this you just put in water, about a cup of water, and then you just down it. So those are specific protein pieces, or they're called amino acids, which are really good for helping to build, just target that muscle. Great to have all the amino acids, but that's just a bit more specific, especially for those what's called DOMs, that when you're like, oh my God, it hurts to sit down because you've done so many squats and legs or whatever it happens to be. Another thing that I do is in my water is I put in something called glutamine. This is a specific amino acid. I find that this is so great to keep my energy going. It's also super healing for my gut, and also really helps to boost my immune system as well. When I did the Tough Mudder last year, then you can get this also from another company in capsules, and I had that in my little pouch in my pocket in the back, and all the way around I went and flipped between They're called blocks from Cliff, and that was a really great energy source for me. And then also I kept taking my glutamine all the way around because it's just fabulous, easy digestible fuel. And this is just a powder. I put this in my water bottle, and then I drink my water all the way throughout whatever it is that I'm doing at the gym. And it helps tremendously to just keep my energy if I'm really working hard on a particular day, or harder, because my program's changed. So it's not that I'm not working hard, but things change. So let's say if you're going to the gym and you're doing like an arms day, and it's just, you know, your arms are really strong, you've renourished all of your muscles and they've had time to repair themselves, then on that day, then you may feel like, oh yeah, I can really work a lot more this time. So then the glutamine going in throughout your workout is really just a tremendous thing to do. So that's something there that you can try as well. Now, all these products, they're not all on sproutright.com. That's more where I send people, because I have the e-commerce on that site. So you can always just contact me and email me and just say, what was that glutamine that you said? Or what was this product? Or you know, tell me a little bit more about this type of tuna. Why are you going for that? All of those kind of things. Always happy to answer all of those questions. Now, just a little bit about pre-workout. Now, I work out in the morning, so I get up and I go out. So I put my glutamine in my water. What I have for a pre-workout snack, this came from Brendan Brazier from his Thrive diet book years and years ago. I started doing this, and for whatever, it just works for me, so I really like it. So I take a date, I take out the seed, and then I shove in about half a teaspoon of coconut oil, and I eat it, and then off I go. I find that when I'm changing up my exercise, or if I'm going for a really long run, I do definitely need to eat more before I do something like that. And if you're more of an evening workout person, then, or that's your routine, you go at nighttime, just a little bit of carb, a little bit of, I have the carb of the date with the fat of the coconut oil, because coconut oil is something that my liver's going to use really quickly for energy, as opposed to some other type of fat. So coconut oil is a really useful fat in just giving lots and lots of energy really quickly, really straight away. So what you're having before slow release carbs is really good. So no chocolate bars, nothing like that. So going and having, you can have a granola bar if you want. You can go and have, I do love the Cliff bars. The nut butter filled are my faves. So that's something that you can look into. They also have the blocks, which are great carbs to certainly during exercise. I've used them a lot during exercise. If we've gone for a really long ride, or done the ride for heart on the Gardener, that's when we use things like that. You can use the little pouches as well. They're energy pouches for during, but really just as you're heading towards the gym. Then a little bit of carb, a little bit of protein or fat, because that slows down the release of the carb, is a really tremendous thing to do. So lots and lots of ways to make sure that you feel great afterwards. There are times in different training sessions where I've come away and, oh my goodness, I am exhausted. And then I eat all day. So you think, is this really working? So it just depends on the phase. Speak to your trainer, speak to your gym, wherever it is that you're going, and see, what kind of phase, what kind of workout am I doing, or what have you suggested for me? What do you think about my protein? At one stage, my trainer was saying I had to eat my body weight in protein. That didn't quite work. It was a ton of food for me. And, and upwards of 130 grams of protein a day is a lot. So it just depends on what you're doing. If you're going to the gym and you're working out really well, come home and have about 20 to 30 grams of protein in a meal. So that could be, some chicken, that could be some meat of some description. You're going to have to consume a little bit more with the vegetarian type proteins, but it's so easy now to use the apps. I've got some more information on liannephillipson.com about all the different apps that you can use to type in what it is that you're eating, and you get a readout of all those kind of things, just to be able to keep track of what it is that you're consuming is so incredibly useful. So I hope this has given you some information on what it is that's great to do a little bit of pre-workout, but mostly about post-workout. If you want any more information or get really specific, I do consultations all the time, some great packages that people love to start with, and then I follow you along for 2, 4, 6 months so that we're really working on this together. So that's something that I keep very, very busy with on certain days of the week. So do reach out if you want more information about that or anything that I've talked about. I hope that this has just got a few sparks going on in there, and if you are exercising, it is just tremendous. Well done, and don't ever stop, because we're just humans and we just need to keep moving our muscles and doing our things. And try some yoga to balance along with your strength training, along with your resistance training, along with your cardio and your long distance and endurance that you've got going on. But it's all amazing, so keep it going. All right, take good care, and any more information, reach out to us at through Lianne Phillipson on Facebook, Instagram. I'm all over the place. So you're more than welcome to email us too at Lianne@liannephillipson.com, Lianne@sproutright.com. Thanks so much, and we will see you again in a couple of weeks. Take care.